Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Madam Nur Shakirin Isha, or you can call me Madam Shakirin. I will be the lecturer that will teach Foundation Biology 1, Bio 091 for Semester 1 for Group S9, S10, S61, and also S62. Okay, so in this video, I will explain to you the outline of this course, how you will be assessed, the different types of assessment that you will have to do and submit, okay, and the grading for this subject, right? Okay. Okay, so this is the academic calendar for this semester. So for semester 1, same goes to semester 2. It consists of 14 weeks, all right? So for the first week, it starts today, which is 13th of July, until 8th of November. Okay, so 14 weeks altogether. And then you must make sure that you fill up the entrance survey that you can find in the U Future. So make sure that you have enrolled the subject Bio 091 in the U Future and fill the entrance survey. So the entrance survey due date will be on the 25th of July. So make sure that by the end of this date, all of you have fill up the entrance survey, okay, in the U Future. And then you will have your mid semester tests, okay, which will be in this duration, which is 7 until 13th of September. Okay, so the test will last for 1 week, and then you have your midterm break, and then continue with your lecture, which start with week 9 until week 14. Okay, so this is for this duration is week 1 until week 8. Okay, so this is week 9 until week 14, right? And then at the end of the semester, between 19th of October until the 1st of November, so make sure that you have filled up the exit survey. Also the exit survey you can find in the U Future. Okay, and then another survey that you have to fill up is the feedback online SUFO, which also you need to fill up the survey that you can find in the U Future. Okay, so the duration for you to to do the SUFO is between this date 20th of September until 8th of November. Okay, and then you have your revision week. Okay, and then the final examination for for about 2 weeks. Okay, this is actually for about 2 weeks, 9th until 22nd of November, right? Okay, so the credit hour for biology uh, is 5 hours per week. Okay, so you will have lecture, you have your practical, your lab work, and then also tutorial. Okay, so for lecture, you will have 3 hours of lecture every week. Okay, so so the scheme of work for lecturers is like this. Okay, so the lecturer will post pre-recorded lecture video in the Acid Biology YouTube channel, and the lecture notes in the either in the Google Classroom or in the U Future. Okay, so a student, you before each lecture session, you must make sure that you have printed out, okay, you have downloaded and printed out the lecture notes that is going to be that the lecturer is going to teach for that week. Okay, you must make sure that you have your lecture notes. Okay, and then the lecturer or I will prepare the online attendance form. Okay, and then the attendance form will be given to you at the end of the live lecture session, right? And then I will create, okay, Google Meet link just before the lecture session, such as, for example, for S61 and S62, you will have your lecture on Tuesday at 2 a.m. Okay, so make sure that you check your Google Classroom for biology, and I will post the link, okay, at in the Google Classroom for biology. Okay, so make sure that you check, you always check your Google Classroom for biology. Okay, um, and then at the beginning of the lecture session, okay, I will ask you, okay, to watch the pre-recorded video in the YouTube channel for the first like 15 to 30 minutes of the lecture session. Okay, and then after you have watched the video from the acid biology YouTube channel, we will have some discussion uh, on the topics. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can ask during the live lecture session. Okay, the next one is on practical work or lab work. Okay, so you will have your lab work every 2 weeks, and the duration of the practical will be 2 hours for each of the lab session. Okay, so your lab session will start actually on the second week. Okay, on the second week and the third week is through ODL or online distance learning. Okay, so for the second and the third week, okay, I will explain to you on how you are going to do the experiment 1, on how you are going to do the experiment 2, and how you are going to do for experiment 3. And then I will also explain to you about what you are going to do for your mini projects, and also you will have another assignment is on biodiversity. Okay, so and your face-to-face lab session will start on the 4th until the 8th week. Okay, so so the scheme of work for me is that I will give thorough explanation about the experiment procedures and lab rules during ODL session. So this I will explain to you on the second and the third week of the ODL lab session. Okay, and then you must you as student, you must read and understand the instruction in the lab manual for the experiment to be done for that week. Okay, so for now the lab manual, I will post the lab manual in the future. Okay, so you can download the lab manual in the student folder in the future. Okay, on the second week, which is next week. Okay, and then during the actual face-to-face lab session that will occur at week 4 until week 8, okay, I will observe your lab work. Okay, I will observe how you do your lab, how you take data. Okay, whether you take part or not in the experiment. Okay, and then you have to next you have to submit lah. Okay, you have to submit your lab report. Okay, so for your lab work, I will expect you to read and understand the instruction for each of the experiment that you are going to do for that lab session. And then I will expect you to do a jotter. Okay, which is a simplified version of the procedure that you are going to do for that experiment. Okay, so for the face-to-face lab session later, I want you to only bring your jotter. Okay, do not bring your lab manual. Okay, so this shows you that you are fully prepared for the lab session. Okay, so I only want you to refer to your jotter. Okay, so during the face-to-face lab session, so listen to the lecturer's explanation. So you have to listen to what I say, the instruction. You have to follow the rules. Okay, and then you have to carry out the experiment properly and accordingly. Collect the data for the experiment, and if you have any question, you can ask, and I also can ask you the question. I also can ask you question on the about the experiment. Okay, so you have to do the experiment, and then you have to do the lab report and submit the lab report a week after that. Okay. Okay, so the next point is a tutorial session. So you will have 1 hour of tutorial session every week. Okay, so because we are learning online, okay, so I will post the exercise for each of the chapter in the U Future folder for student, and then you have to download the exercise from that folder in the U Future, and then you have to do the exercise for the chapter that you are learning for that week. Okay, so for the live tutorial session, okay, the same as for the lecture session, I will create Google Meet link, and then I will post the link in the Google Classroom, and then you have to click on the on the Meet link and prepare for the tutorial session. Okay, so make sure that you have done the exercise properly. You understand the question. Okay, you understand why is the answer like that. Okay, so and then during the tutorial ODL session, we will discuss the question, the answers, and I will ask you question as well, whether to test whether you understand what you have learned. Okay, and then at the end of the tutorial session, I will take attendance. Okay, I will give link for you to fill up for the attendance. Okay. Okay, so the syllabus content for this semester comprises of 8 chapters, which is chapter 1 is on macromolecules. So in this chapter, we are going to learn about functional group, properties of water, the structure of water molecules, the structure and functions of proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids. Okay. As for chapter 2, we are going to look at cells. Okay, so we are going to look at cell theories, the differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, the differences and the similarities between animal and plant cells. Okay, and then we are going to look at the different organelles that are found in animals and plant cells, and then at the end of chapter 2, we are going to look at animals and plant tissues. And the next chapter is chapter 3, so which is about plasma membrane transport. So in this chapter, we are going to look at the component of plasma membrane, fluid mosaic model. Okay, so, and then we are going to look at the role of membrane proteins that are embedded in the plasma membrane. All right, in the membrane, and then we are going to look at the property, okay, of the membrane, which is why is it selectively permeable, and then we are going to look at the different types of passive and active transport. All right. The next chapter is chapter 4, enzyme. So we are going to look at the concept of activation energy, the enzyme actions, okay, and then factors that affects the rate of enzyme reactions, okay, and then we are going to look at Michaelis-Menten kinetics and line with Weaver-Burg plot, okay. The different what is cofactors, examples of cofactors, enzyme inhibition, regulation of enzyme activity, classification of enzymes, and also enzyme technology. Okay, so the next chapter is chapter 5, which is on cellular respiration. So we are going to look at what is ATP, the structure of ATP, how ATP is produced, okay, and then we are going to look at the concept of redox reaction, and then we are going to look at the different stages of cellular respiration, which is glycolysis, and then link reaction, and then you have the citric acid cycle, and then you have the electron transport chain, or ETC, and then the process of oxidative phosphorylation that involve or that occurs during cellular respiration. Okay, so the next chapter is chapter 6, which is on photosynthesis. So in this chapter, we are going to look at what is autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, examples of organisms. Okay, for these two types of nutrition, and then the process of photosynthesis itself. All right. So as you know, photosynthesis, it is divided or it comprises of two main stages, which is light reaction and also the dark reaction, or also known as the Calvin cycle. And then we are going to look at absorption spectrum. Okay, the different wave length of light. Okay, that the chlorophyll in the chloroplast absorb in order to carry out photosynthesis as a source of energy. And then we are going to look at what is C3 plant, what is C4 plant, what is SCAM plant. Okay, and then the next chapter, chapter 7, is on biodiversity. So this in this chapter we are going to learn on taxonomy and also biodiversity in Malaysia. So you have to pay attention to this chapter, because this chapter you will have your assignment. Okay, you will have your assignment to do, which is it involves biodiversity. Okay. And then the next chapter is chapter 8, ecology. So you are going to understand the concept of ecology, ecosystem, population ecology, and the last one is biogeochemical cycle. Okay, biogeochemical cycle. Okay. Okay, so this is the lab schedule. Okay, so it starts with week 2, okay, which is next week. Okay, so I will explain to you, okay, on the procedures, the lab rules, okay, for experiment 1. Okay, and then for week 3 I will explain to you on experiment 2 and also experiment 3. So experiment 2 is on cell staining and also cell membrane permeability. Okay, so this is through ODL session. Okay, lab ODL session that follows according to your timetable. Okay. So so on the 4th week you will register into the campus. So that is when we are going to do the face-to-face lab work. Okay, so it starts with week 4. So you are going to do experiment 1. Okay, and then I will explain to you on how to use a microscope, right? And then week 5 still on experiment 1. Okay, and also demonstration on how to use a microscope. Okay, so as I said before, you will do your lab work every 2 weeks. So it means that if you are from group, for example, S10, okay, so you will start with week 4, and then week 5 you have no lab. Okay, so the time slot will be free lah for the lab session for biology. Okay. So same goes to S9, for example. So you will have no lab session for on the 4th week, but you will start your lab session on the 5th week. Okay, same goes to S61. S61 you will start your lab on week 5. Okay, S62 you will start your first lab during week 6. Okay, I will give a table for you to refer this date later on. Okay, and then week 7 and week 8 you are going to do experiment 2, experiment 3, and I will assess you on how you use microscope. Okay, so how will I assess you? You will have to prepare a video of you using the microscope. Okay, so this is the date that you are going to register into campus. Okay, which is on the 2nd until the 4th of August. And then on the 20th of August, it's public holiday, cuti awal Muharram. And then the 31st August, you have your cuti hari kebangsaan lah. Okay. So this is the timetable and the week, okay, that you are going to do the experiment. Okay, so it starts with week 3, okay, sorry, week 2. Okay, so week 2, during the lab session, the ODL lab session, okay, so I will explain to you on what you are going to do for experiment 1. I will explain to you the lab rules and regulation, and also I will also explain to you on how to use a microscope. Okay, so make sure you attend the online ODL lab slot, okay, according to your timetable. All right. And then on the third week, okay, I will explain to you the procedures, okay, for experiment 2 and also experiment 3. Okay, so this one I will explain to you during the ODL lab slot. Okay, so make sure you attend the lab slot, right? And then okay, so your face-to-face lab session will start on the 4th week until the 8th week. Okay, so for S10, okay, you will do the first experiment, which is on macromolecule, and I will demonstrate to you on how to use a microscope. Okay, as for S61 and S9, you will do experiment 1 on week 5. Okay, so this is the date. Okay, so this date is according to your timetable. Okay, S61 you are going to do your lab on Tuesday. S9 you are going to do your lab work on Thursday. Okay. As for S62, you will do your first experiment on week 6. Okay, so which is your lab falls on Tuesday, same as S61. Okay, so so this is for the face-to-face lab session lah. So you will carry out the experiment, and I will demonstrate to you on how to use a microscope. Okay, so for experiment 2 and experiment 3, and also lab observation, of which I'm going to observe how you use the microscope, because during experiment 1 I've explained to you on how to use a microscope for, and the next experiment you will prepare a video, okay, to show how you use the microscope. Okay, so for group 1, which is S61 and S9, you will do the experiment on week 7. Okay, for S62 and S10, you will do the experiment on week 8. Okay, so you have to remember which week that you are going to do the experiment. Okay, so and also you have to bear in mind that during this first few weeks, okay, then starting from next week, you will have to have an idea, okay, of the type of experiment that you are going to propose for your mini projects. Okay, so you are going to do a mini project. Okay, it's like paper 3 of SPM exam. Okay, so you have to propose an experiment, and then you have to come up with the introduction, the objective of the experiment, the hypothesis, the procedures, okay, the hypothetical results. Okay, for mini project, you are not going to do the experiment, but you are going to propose a hypothetical results. Okay, and then you have to discuss that results. Okay, so for the mini project, make sure that you choose experiment that that is within the syllabus that you are learning for this semester. So you can choose topics on macromolecules. Okay, you can design experiment based on cells. Okay, observe human cells, for example, under the microscope, or plant cells under the microscope, to see whether you can observe, for example, chloroplasts. Okay, um, and then you can do an experiment, propose an experiment on enzyme, for example. Okay, and then or cellular respiration or photosynthesis. Whatever experiment that you are going to propose for the mini project, make sure that it is within the syllabus. Okay. Okay, so this is the lesson and assessment planning, okay, for week 1 until week 14, right? So during the first 2 weeks, we are going to learn on chapter 1, which is on macromolecules, and then for the next uh, the third week and the fourth week, we are going to look at chapter 2, which is on cells, and then week 5 and week 6, we are going to look at chapter 3, which is plasma membrane transport. And chapter 4, we are going to cover chapter 4 enzyme, week 7 and week 8. Okay, and so this is the assessment for each week. So your assessment will start at week 5. Okay, so you at week 5, you will take your first quiz, which is on macromolecules. Okay, so as for S10, you are going to do your lab work on week 4. Okay, so it means that you have 1 week to submit your lab report. Okay, so your lab report must be submitted on week 5, which is on Thursday. You are going to submit your lab report for experiment 1 Thursday of week 5. Okay, according to your timetable. And then week 6, okay, group 1, which is group 1 S9 and S61, you are going to submit your first lab report. Okay, so you are going to do your lab on week 5, and then you have 1 week, okay, to submit your lab report. Okay, so for S62, okay, you are going to do your experiment 1, okay, at week 6, and you have 1 week to submit your lab report. So you are going to submit your lab report uh, uh, week 7. Okay, so week 7, all of you, S9, S10, S61 and also S62, you are going to take your second quiz, which is on plasma membrane transport. Okay, so week 8, okay, so for group 1, S9 and S61, you are going to submit your lab report for experiment 2 and experiment 3, and also you are going to submit lab exercise video. Okay, lab exercise video. So in the video you must explain how to use the microscope. Okay, so the video that you are going to do for this assessment is that you are going to record during the lab, okay, of experiment 2, of how you use the microscope. Okay, how you prepare cell staining, for example. Okay, and then how you use the microscope. So you are going to record, and then you are going to submit the video at week 8. Okay, so and then after week 8, you have your midterm test, okay, which is 7 until 11th of September. So this is 1 week of midterm test, and then you have your midterm break lah. Okay, and then week 9 will start after the midterm break. Okay, so week 9 and week 10, so we are going to look at chapter 5, which is on cellular respiration. So the assessment for week 9 is that for group 2, which is S10 and S62, you will have to submit your lab report for experiment 2 and experiment 3. Okay, and S62 and S10, you will have to submit your video observation of you explaining how to use the microscope. Okay, and then week 10, there's no assessment, and then week 11 and week 12, we are going to look at chapter 6, which is on photosynthesis. Okay. So for this, for week 11, you are going to present your mini projects. Okay, so you are going to present your mini project, and then you are going to submit the report for the mini project. So group 1, it means that for this week, group S9 and S61 will present the mini project. Okay, you will present the mini project, and then you have to submit the report. And then week 12 is the presentation week for group 2, which is S62 and S10. Okay, so S62 and S10 will present the mini project at week 12. Okay, and then at week 12, week 12, you also will be given, all of you will be given quiz 3, which is on cellular respiration. Okay, so for week 13, okay, we are going to look at chapter 7, which is on biodiversity. Week 14, we are going to look at the last chapter, which is on ecology. Okay, so for the biodiversity presentation, group 1 S61 and S9, you will present the biodiversity presentation at week 13, and S62 and S10 will present the biodiversity presentation at week 14. Okay, so week 14 ends on the 30th of October, and then you have your revision week for 1 week, and then you have your final examination. Okay, so the final examination will last about 2 weeks. Okay. Okay, so next is the timeline for mini projects and biodiversity presentation. Okay, so week 9 and week 10, you will have no ODL session, lab ODL session. So so what you have to do for this week is that you have to use that free ODL lab session to discuss among your group members of how you are going to prepare for the mini projects. Okay, and you have to prepare for your biodiversity projects. Okay, for the presentation of biodiversity. Okay, so you will have to discuss, okay, what you are going to present later at week 11 until week 14. Okay, according to your group. Okay, so for the mini project presentation, so you are going to present the mini projects during the ODL lab session, ODL lab slot, starting at week 11 and week 12. So for group 1, which is S61 and S9, you are going to present and submit a mini project report at week 11. Okay, as for group 2, S62 and S10, you are going to present your mini project and submit the report at week 12. Okay, so you have to remember the dates. Okay, so this is according to your ODL lab slot of your timetable. Okay, and then for the biodiversity presentation, so group 1 S61 and S9, you are going to present the biodiversity presentation at week 13. Okay, and group 2 S62 and S10, you are going to present your biodiversity presentation at week 14. Okay, so you have to remember these dates. So this date is according to your timetable. Okay, ODL lab slot according to your timetable. Okay, so so for these two projects, remember that you have to prepare. Okay, at the beginning of this semester, you must have an idea, okay, of what experiment that you are going to do. As for the biodiversity presentation, you must have an idea, okay, of what issue that you are going to cover for the biodiversity presentation. So for example, you can present on endangered species of that are found in Malaysia. Okay, So you can also choose other issues such as, for example, pollution or deforestation, or any issues relating to biodiversity. Okay. So this is the timetable for replacement lab. So for the whole of the semester, there are 3 public holidays. So it only affects S10. Okay. So S10. So you are going to do experiment 1. Okay. On the 6th of August. Okay. Instead of week 6. Okay. So week 6 you have public holiday, which is our Muharram. Okay. August. So you are going to replace the lab at week 4. Okay. So as you can see from this timetable, from this table. Okay. So for each class, okay, for each group, okay, so each group comprises about 30 members, okay, 28, 27, okay, members. So we are going to use 2 labs. Okay. We are going to use 2 labs. For example, S10 we are going to use lab 1 and lab 1 and lab 4. So for lab 1, the there are 14, okay, students that will be using lab 1, and another 15 student will use lab 4. Okay. So for each group, S1, S9, S10, S61, S62, I need you to divide yourself into a group of 5. Okay, a group of 5 to 6 people at most. Okay. So for each group, for example S10, okay, I need you to have a maximum of 5 groups that consists of each group consists of 5 members. Okay, maximum. I want 5 groups. Okay, 5 group consisting of 5 members. Okay. So um so this is the lab schedule. Okay, so week 9, week 10, these 2 weeks you have you have to prepare your mini projects and also biodiversity. Week 11, week 12 is the week that you present your mini project. Week 13 and 14 is the week that you are going to present biodiversity. Most probably, how do you present your biodiversity presentation and mini projects? Most probably that you have to prepare a video of you presenting the projects. Okay.